Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle. I'm your host Joe Frank, and today we're going to do something pretty interesting. It is the new year, 2024. Welcome. And we are going to play around with my big-eyed fathead mold. But what we're going to do is we're going to use some really cool Holoshift powders from 8BitBaits, aka Bait Chuckin'. Now I've got a whole bunch of these colors, so let's bring you on down to the table so we can check these out, and I'll show you all these different colors. We're only going to do 2 today with a bloodline probably, so let's check this out. Let's see what we're going to get into. Okay guys, so we're going to, like I said, we're going to do the big-eyed fathead, and what we're going to do, and these are the molds that I made up originally. These are like some of the original silicone molds that I made, so they're a little bit ugly, like one's purple, one's blue. They still do exactly what I need them to do, and they hold the heat well, so it really doesn't matter what they do. Now we're going to talk about 8BitBaits and their awesome Holoshift powders. Now Michael was kind enough to send me all of the colors, all these sample colors, and we're going to go through some of them. I'm just going to go through them, show you what colors they got. And we already have 2 that are pre-made that I'm going to remelt down. So this is kind of a good test for the remelt plastic with the Holoshift powders in them. Okay, and then I've got these 2 here, which is the ones we're going to use today. So we have a royal with cheese, which is a very cool, like orange, purpley color shift. It's hard to explain on camera. Even I don't even know if it really can pick it up very well. But like I said, I just wanted to go through some of these names with you. I'm not going to go through each and every one, but look at that. Look at that. That is insane. So cool. So some of these I haven't even opened yet, but we are going to do a video series on all of these. It's probably going to be within the next couple months. We're going to go through a bunch of them, but we're going to do it a little bit at a time. So I just wanted to go through and to just tell you what all these colors are. There's a Cortana, Copper Pot, Sonic, a Solar Sugar, Crown Royal, Borealis, Goldmember, Sylvanus, Hyrule, Endor. Notice the Star Wars there on Endor, and Zelda, Hyrule, one of my favorite games, Zelda. I love it. Then these 2 here are the ones we're going to be using today. This one is a Ghost Trout, which is a very, very clear type. Let me see if I can get this light on. This might help just a little bit focus on this. But it's very clear. It has a very distinct color shift in it to like a green. It's really hard to focus on this. I don't know why it's not. There it goes. So it's got this green, and it kind of, I mean, it's a fantastic color. I really can't describe it until you really try it, but it is more of a clear type white, you know what I mean? White base, but it shifts to a green. It might be a little bit of orange in there too. I can't really tell, but it is an awesome color, gorgeous color, especially for a belly. So again, that's Ghost Trout. That's what we're using today. The top color is going to be Bespin or Bespin. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Michael will have to tell me. But that color there is amazing. It's like an orange to a green to like a orange. It's orange green, and I'd have to say, I guess that's probably it, like an orange to a green, but it's got a little bit of like yellow gold in there too. It's a beautiful color. Amazing, amazing color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how these baits come out. I'm going to use that as the top color. Like I said, Ghost Trout is the bottom. Then we're going to do a vein with just some chartreuse pepper, light pepper, and it's got some gold flake in it, probably some other kind of hyper shift or powder, some kind of powdered shift. But this one is going to go on top, and all this is. In each one of these, what I did was I did about 1.5 cups of plastic, okay, and I did literally like the smallest one I had. I can't remember what size it was for the scooper. I want to say smidgen, maybe. I might have even been smaller than that. But I literally took like a half a smidgen and put it into each one of those. And I may have done another smidgen. So this probably right here, less than a smidgen for each one of those, for a cup and a half of plastic. Now what I did with this one, with the Bespin, whatever it's called, this one I actually took and added 1 drop of black to it just to darken it up with just a touch. Okay, so that's how you get this. And this is a gorgeous color. And let me get it cut up and we'll get it melted down. You can see it right there. See that orange in there? It's gorgeous. So let's get this one heated up. And we got to get this cut up so we can remelt it. But this is another thing that we're going to test too, is the remelt, on how these remelt. And by the way, a couple guys have been talking to me about these things, and I think Fish Daddy was the one that kind of brought it up originally. I asked the question where to get these. I found these at like some kind of Christmas thing that we went to. They had them like in this craft section, and they're actually called bowl warmers. And I know he was looking for them too, and I found them on Amazon, but these ones I found there, somebody actually made them. They're basically just like little pot holders, but they're sewed up in the centers to bring up the sides, to bring up the corners. So something really cool. I could just set my cups in, keep them hot, and then I got this from Target. It's like a silicone one side, and then it's got some material on the other side, and you actually could use this as a pot holder if you wanted to, right? Like a little claw there. But I'm thinking that for on top of it, I need to get another one of those. But just some added things that you might want to do. And by the way, I did get some Dead On Plastics cups, and they are pretty good cups so far. They're shorter and they're wider, which is something I like. But I also found these. They're called Kitchenery, and this I think I found at TJ Maxx. So keep your eyes out for these. But they're basically the same cup, the shorter, wider, and it's got the same pouring spout on each one. And I also found another one, another brand, and I found it at Target. Target had them. There's another brand here called Figment, and that's Target's brand of the same cup, same spout, same everything. So you can go ahead and you can buy them, and they're fairly cheap. I mean, they're like $5 or less from Target, or even if you wanted to get the ones from Dead On, those are about the same price. So let's go ahead and get this thing moving. Let's get this cut up. Let's get this melted down. This is the Ghost Trout, and we can take a look at this color a little bit closer. Okay, so like I said, we got this all cut up. We are going to add a little bit of heat stabilizer to the plastic. Always, I do not like my burnt plastic, and I do not like it mushroomed, so we're going to take care and try to do this the best we can. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the microwave for about 3 minutes to get it real good and hot. And again, I have a 700 watt microwave. It's nothing crazy, so that's why I can go ahead and do it for 3 minutes. You got to be careful of your wattage on your microwaves. So we're going to go ahead and cut this one up next and get the next one going. Okay, so I just checked the first color, the Ghost Trout, and it is still a little bit cold. It's about 295. So I went ahead and got this color chopped up and ready to go. I'm going to, I got my bloodline, my chartreuse bloodline sitting over here to the side. I got that cut up, and I got some heat stabilizer in it. We will be using the heat gun again today. Silicone molds always kind of require a heat gun if you want those layers to bond properly, if you want to do multicolored layers. So in this case, when we turn this on, we are going to go to second fan, which is the highest heat temperature, the highest blower, and we're also going to go to notch number 4, which I believe is like 900 degrees, okay? And don't worry about it, these molds can take it. And I just blow in and out of these cavities up and down, and just try my best to get everything heated up the best we can. And then what we'll do is we will preheat these. I'm going to heat these up with this a little bit before we get to pour. But as always, of course, we have to degas our plastic. And right now, sorry about that, right now our plastic just came out, and it is at 360, so we are perfect right there. We don't want to go any hotter than that. So let's get this in the degassing chamber, and we will get it degassed, and then we will pour our first color when we get the mold heated up. Alright, so we have our color heated up and degassed, and that is what it looks like. So cool. Wait till we pour this, you're going to love it. So, got my 2 molds here. I've got my heat gun warming up. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit here so I can show you what we're doing. That way you can see in the molds a little bit too. Okay, heat gun's definitely heated up. I'm going to go ahead and preheat these molds. And we're just going to do one at a time. I'm going to heat this one up real good, and we're going to pour it, and then we'll heat the other one up and pour it. So again, we're just heating it up just to get it warm so that we don't have to worry about the tail so much right now, because we're only pouring in the belly section of the bait. And the way I designed these big-eyed fathead molds is to really have a nice hook slot, and it's going to be very cool to get. It's very unique in the way I designed it, where I actually measured it out to where how far in I wanted my hook slot, so then that way I can do the belly cores and everything like that. Alright, so this one's nice and heated. Let's go ahead and set this off to the side. Got our plastic ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and pour up front towards the in between the eyes where the hook slot starts. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this until it's just about to the top of the hook slot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cover the hook slot with a thin layer of plastic as well. Okay, just like that. Perfect. So the hook slot is actually protruding a little bit through that plastic, which is good. That's what we want. And then I'm going to heat this one up too, and we're going to do the same thing. And while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and heat up my bloodline color, my chartreuse pepper. And I've got some heat stabilizer in it as well. Always use heat stabilizer when you're remelting your plastic. And you're definitely doing remelts, you want to do that. Okay, I can start to see, and a good indication it's getting hot is you can see the mold starting to turn a little bit white. That's a good sign. So we're ready to do the second one. Here we go. Again, same spot. We're going to fill that hook slot up until we get close to the top of that hook slot. And then, like I said, I'm going to pour a thin layer of plastic over top of that right there. Perfect. Same thing as the last one. Good to go. Okay, so I've got my heat gun still going. I am going to turn it off for a second because it's going to be a minute. So I'm going to have to get this. I'm going to have to get our chartreuse nice and hot first. We're going to have to degas it and go through the whole process. So I'm going to do that in the background. So we got our first color poured, Ghost Trout. And that's this one right here. It's going to look amazing. So wait till you see how this bait comes out. Now I have poured this bait already. I did one for my father for Christmas, and these came out amazing. And I wanted to pour 2 of these for myself to try. So I'm going to go ahead and let these set up, and we're going to wait for the bloodline, and then we'll pour that when we get done. Alright, so here we have our second color, our bloodline, which are chartreuse. We're going to turn the heat gun back on, and if you hit the power button, it comes right back to the same spot you had it in last. The tricky part about this is now we have to heat this plastic up in here enough to where it's tacky and moves. Then that way the bloodline will blend well with the plastic. There's no cold cracks. And it's going to take a minute probably to get it nice and heated up. And how I like to do it is I watch the plastic inside of here. Watch your fingers, this is really hot. But this little nozzle here really helps too. It directs that heat right into the mold where I want it. So the cool part about this right here is you can watch the plastic melt on the top of the hook slot. The second thing is I can notice when you tilt this sideways a little bit, the heat gun, it's blowing air, so you'll see the plastic actually start to move. So when it's starting to melt, and you can see that plastic starting to move, that is what we're looking for. We want that plastic to be nice and hot. We want it to move. So right now, it's getting nice and hot. And I can start to see a little bit of smoke coming out of there, so I know that it's getting hot. And when you start to see, like, I can start to see like a little bit of a ripple effect on the plastic, that's how we know it's nice and hot. And we'll want it to blend a little bit with the plastic, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that plastic to start moving a little bit, start to wave. Oh yeah, I think she's ready. I can start to see it moving a little bit now. Yep, I can see it moving now. But the back part is very key, because we want that to blend in really well. Okay, so I'm going to set the heat gun down for a second. I'm going to go ahead and pour my line. And you can see it blend with the plastic. And what I want to do is I want to come up right behind the eyeballs, but I want it to stop. I don't want it to go any farther than that. So what I'm going to do is hold this right here for a minute. The tricky part's going to be later, is when we heat this plastic up again. We want that line. I think what I'll do is just put a knife underneath the front, and that way it goes back a little bit. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing in the other one. The tricky part is you want the plastic to come up, but you don't want it to go all the way to the tip of the bait. You want the bloodline to start behind the eyeball, or yeah, right behind the eyeball. So I got that a little bit farther up there than I would like, but we'll let that set up. And then when we heat this up again, that's going to be the tricky part, because we want to heat it, but we don't want that plastic to melt up to the front. So we'll try our best. The last time I think I was really close on it, but still could use a little bit of practice on doing that. So let's get this heat going still here on this second mold, and I'm going to go ahead and heat this plastic back up a little bit because it's getting a little bit cold. Okay, so I can start to see plastic moving a little bit here. I think once that's out of the microwave, I think we're good. Yep, I can see the plastic moving. About 15 seconds. I think that's probably good right there. I'm going to put the heat gun down. Be very careful. Do not spill hot plastic. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that bloodline. Okay. And again, just behind the eyes. Stop right there. I'm going to hold that up a little bit. I'm going to bring this knife over here to kind of pick up on the front of that mold, so in that way the plastic will still go back a little bit. Okay, so it's not as perfect as I wanted to do. I think I did the same thing on this one and put a little bit too much in. But we're going to go ahead and get our last color, the Bespin. I'm going to have to ask him how to pronounce that. We're going to start getting that one going. I'm going to turn the heat gun off, let that cool down for a little bit. But I think we're good. I think you can see up in the mold. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus here. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that well or not. Probably better if I had a flashlight. It's tough to see. Let's see if this helps at all. A little bit. So I stopped that bloodline a little bit. It went a little bit above to the front of the eye, which not really what I was looking for, but that's okay. And the same thing with this one. I did the same thing. Plastic just went a little bit too far forward, but that's alright, like I said. And this plastic is still hot, so I'm still trying to... I think I may have just messed that up by tilting that back a little bit too much. But that's okay. We can modify that. I can take some of that out because it's still hot, and that way it's not so. There we go. I just poured a little bit too much plastic when I tilted that up and just try to show you. This one was still hot, so that's better. So we're back to the even Stevens now. Alright, so let's get the last color heated up, and we'll come back and we'll pour the last layer. So we got to heat up again the third time, and then we got to pour both. Alright, we got our color. Look at that. Look at that color. It's gorgeous. I love this color. One drop of black, cup and a half of plastic, one tiny scoop of Bespin. I'm going to call it Bespin. Alright, so ready to roll. Got the heat gun going. I am going to heat up the first mold. I'm going to go ahead and keep that knife there for a little bit of a tilting type thing. I'm going to go ahead and get this heated up. Nice and hot, and this time I need to make sure that I get the tail. I want to make sure I heat that part of the mold up. Now you don't need to. The reason I picked this silicone, which is Umu 30, is because it's very good even at cold temperatures to pour. So if you wanted to pour a solid color into this cold, it would do pretty well. But if you want to prevent cold cracking and you want a really crystal clear bait, you really need to heat this up. Anytime. You should heat up silicone anytime. And if it's not heating up and if it's ruining the silicone, and you just don't have a good mold. But most molds that I've seen for any kind of fishing lures, they have a great heat tolerance. And this, I know this silicone does. I have a video on silicone, different types of silicones. You may want to check that out if that's your thing. I think this plastic's starting to get hot. It's starting to melt a little bit now. I can see some waviness in the plastic. But again, we want to make sure that it's nice and hot. Yep, it's starting to move. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to go ahead and pour this. I'm going to pour it back here by the tail. And it very, very nicely meshed with that. Nice and hot. I want to keep it nice and hot, and it rolled right over top of the front there into the front cavity and filled in where the eyes were. So again, we want to just keep filling this until we're over top of the eye sockets, which we are on the front, and the back is full. We are good, and I actually over-poured that. Over-poured it a chunk. So what I'm going to do, since I over-poured, is I'm going to take this. Actually, I didn't over-pour. What I did was I didn't take it off the knife. So I'm going to just, I took it off the knife, leveled it out. Let me back you up here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Take this knife on the flat side, and I'm just going to go ahead and scrape off the excess plastic. Okay? And that'll take care of some of the excess if there's too much on there. Okay, and you can clean the edge of the knife off and do it again if you want. Okay, just so there's not too much on there. So that'll come out nice and clean now. Okay? So, let's repeat the process with number 2. Our plastic is still nice and hot. I'm going to keep it in the koozie because I haven't been doing that lately. I'll zoom you back in here. Move this over a little bit. See what we're doing. So again, I need to make sure that once I get the plastic poured into there, I take it off the knife. So then that way it's not leaning back, because I don't want the plastic to keep going, flowing out the back. And that's what I did on this last one. So we learn from our mistakes. Always. Make sure you heat the tail section. Very good. Because it did not see any heat when we did the other sections. Make sure we get this nice and hot. The plastic starts moving, and that little spot I messed up in the tail, it is actually leveling out perfect. Actually, I've got a spot in there I need to fix. One little drip of that chartreuse was in the tail. I got it out of there. So always double check your molds before you do it. Make sure you don't got any drips down the sides or anything like that. So let's make sure this is nice and hot again. Yeah, I can start to see the plastic moving. We definitely want to make sure our tail is nice and melted. And I can see the plastic moving right now, so we're good. I'm going to take this off, get our plastic, and we're like I said, we're going to pour back by the tail. Nice and slow. It'll push that color right up to the front. Now what that black did when I added that color, and watch this, when we get this up to the front, and it rolled over that front, now I'm going to pull that knife out so it's nice and flat. Okay? We're going to just keep pouring until we get up over the eye sockets and we get that tail filled in. Perfect, that'll level itself out. Perfect. Okay, now we didn't overflow it this time, we did it perfect. But what I was trying to explain to you guys earlier was that little drop of black helps that plastic so much fill in that that darkness we need on the top side of the bait. Oh, I actually over poured it just a touch, it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and scrape the tail off on this one too. And then I'm going to do it again one more time just to make sure. There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so that's how you can scrape that plastic off without it being a problem. Okay, and I've got my heat gun down off the ground here, so then that way it's not buzzing right in our ear. But this plastic is still pretty hot. We're going to take it and put it over here on the side. I just want to be able to make sure I can peel that off with no problems. I don't want that tail to come out of there, so just get that little piece off of there. There we go. There, that'll work. That'll work. But I can't wait for you guys to see this color. So I'm going to go ahead and let these cool down. And once these are cool enough for me to take them out of the molds, I'll take them out, show you guys. Then I'm going to put them in a water bath so that they cool down and set up and the plastic cures. Then what I'm going to do is bring them back to the table after that, and we'll put some eyeballs on them. And I want to show you guys some cool eyeballs that I got a while back that is kind of a new addition to the channel. Well, I hope these turned out as good as I did it the first time. Let's find out. You guys ready? These are still a little warm, but I'm going to take them out so I can put them in cold water so we can put eyeballs on them. Here we go. Look at that color. And I actually did get it right to where the bloodline starts back at the beginning of the eye. It came out perfect this time. I could do it a little bit better, but I think it came out great. But look at that. Oh, that's amazing. That came out phenomenal. Look at this bait, guys. It's gorgeous. You can see the shimmer from that ghost trout on the bottom. You can see that nice bloodline of that chartreuse right up there in the middle. No cold cracks. I can feel it. There's nothing. I can see a little bit on the edge, but I think it's fine. But beautiful bait. Tip looks great. There's no cold cracks there. I mean, it looks fantastic. And I love that if you look through the ghost trout, you can see that hint of chartreuse, the way that color plays on itself. And then the Bespin there, the Bespin is gorgeous. What a gorgeous color. It is dark enough to make the bait look dark on the top, but it's still kind of clear. And look at that color. Look at that color, that Holoshift on that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm in love with these Holoshifts. Michael, you did a great job. They're fantastic. And I can't wait to do more baits with these and show you guys more of these. Like I said, this is going to be kind of a video series. I'm just going to do them as I go. You know, it's going to be some in the future, you know, some recent, that kind of thing. But we're gonna definitely tear into more of these, and we're gonna do a lot more of this type of video. So gorgeous bait, gorgeous bait. Let's go ahead and pull the second one out, see how that one came out, see if the bloodline did the same on this one. And if you start at the head and peel back on it, it'll do the same thing. Yes, it did. It came up a little bit past the eye. Could have been better done on that one, the bloodline, but same deal. But that ghost trout on the bottom is absolutely incredible. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And that bloodline blended so well. This one actually has a little bit more pepper in it, which is what I like. I probably should have added some more black flake to that chartreuse, but man, that is a stunner. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'll have to trim up a little bit around the tail. I noticed that just probably from where we scraped the bait off. That's the only thing you're gonna have to clean up a little bit. But what a gorgeous bait. Absolutely breathtaking. Let's get these in some water so that we can put some eyeballs on these things. Now normally I would glue these eyeballs on, but in this case I'm going to just stick them on, and look what we got here. Some awesome bait and tackle special eyeballs. So cool. McNeil Exotics is where I got these from. These are 0.75 inch, which are the equivalent of like 19 millimeter, but this bait takes a 20 millimeter. That's what I designed it for. So I get these, a lot of these eyeballs, I get them off of eBay. eBay seems to be the only place, and Amazon has some too, but there's a very small selection of 20 millimeters, but Amazon has a very good chunk of them. So I'm going to go ahead and take this realistic eye and just show you guys what these look like with a 20 millimeter eye. It just has a giant eyeball on it. Look at that bait. Isn't that cool? So awesome. But I just wanted you guys to see that, to see what this looks like with a giant eyeball on it, and this just amazing Holoshift powders. So kudos to Michael. You did a great job. I will put links. I'll put a link to the to Michael's 8BitBaits website so that you can go try to pick some of these up. They are selling out pretty fast. I don't know if by the time this video comes out, hopefully you'll be able to still get them, but if not, he will restock. He always does. He does a very good job trying to keep stock in, but again, this was the first run that he did. So I think I just actually peeled the back off that eyeball, but look at that. Isn't that cool? The bait and tackle eye. So cool. And like I said, I'm just going to stick these on, so then that way, normally I glue them on with some super glue, but I'm just going to stick them on for now. But look at that. Isn't that cool? Bait and tackle eye. Love it. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible Holoshift powders. Go pick some up if you really want to do these. Amazing. Like I said, today's feature was the Bespin, which is HS008 part number. And the other one was Ghost Trout. That was on the bottom of the bait, and that is a HS619. I don't know if there's a focus in there. There we go. So, like I said, I will put a link to his website below. Go get some before they're all gone. They might already be gone, but be patient. They will be back. He is going to be doing this full-time, I'm sure. So, let's wrap this thing up. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap it up for today's video, but I thought that was pretty cool. We're going to be definitely using these pretty much from now on. We're going to be using Holoshift powders from my man Michael at 8BitBaits. Fantastic product. They're great under heat. You don't breathe them in. It is a certain type of powder that you can breathe in. It will get airborne, but it does not have any health effects. It is completely safe. We've had that conversation already, Michael and I, but go pick up some of his products. Make amazing looking baits. Look at these two. I mean, they came out phenomenal. That Ghost Trout on that bottom and that Bespin on the top, man, just incredible colors. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, until the next time, keep on baiting.